Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honourable
You human trafficker.
Honourable
Urban News at 9. Good evening. First, the headlines. Abe missing as INEC published details of 16 political parties, flag bearers, and running mates. Federal government shuts down FGC Kwali due to security breach, rescue train victims, or forget elections. Arewa Youth Assembly set to drop new single on Friday. And now to the rest of our stories. And now to the rest of our stories. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has published details of 16 political parties, flag bearers, and running mates qualified to contest the 2023 election to determine the next Rivers governor. Senator Magnus Abe failed to displayed at the Rivers State Office of INEC features African Democratic Congress candidate Iberaye Tonte and Action Alliance Somiraye Victor as youngest Rivers gubernatorial candidate at 37, with Tonto Dike complementing as running mate to Tonto at same age. The ruling People's Democratic Party features newly retired Rivers Accountant General as flag bearer and Tonye Ko for the All Progressive Congress. The Rivers State Chapter Chairman of the Labour Party, Comrade Daye Pepo, has said that Nigerians now have the responsibility to change the narrative of failed system in the country. He made this known to ATN reporters at the Labour Party's town hall meeting, which held at Oroworoko, Falga, Rivers State on Sunday. Now addressing supporters and will remain well-meaning citizens at the town hall meeting, Comrade Pepu stated that the leaders of the country have failed in delivering people-oriented governance as a result of inability and political interest. Comrade Daye Pepu enjoined Nigerians and supporters to see themselves as political structures and use their voting power to ensure that a viable and enabling environment to thrive.
I know some of you are already uncomfortable with the situations we find ourselves here, not in Nigeria, here. And that's a reflection of what is happening in the country. That in a nation as old as Nigeria, we cannot have steady power supply. It's unfortunate we find ourselves in this condition. In this hall, I have two lists, the two of them packed. Right here, two of them. No one is functioning. And that is why you see we have to hire an alternative gen to put on the power system. But if the system of Nigeria had been working properly, we would have had power supply here. But it's unfortunate. And that is why we are here, because we want to change the narratives. Don't be discouraged by what you see. Maybe God wanted it to happen this way, so that you understand, because some people might not understand what we are doing. You think maybe we are just trying to maybe take over power for nothing. How can a nation as old as Nigeria, we still battle between 4,000 to 5,000 megahertz of electricity? With the money they spend in the power sector, we are supposed to be generating up to 30,000 plus and above. But see the level we have found ourselves. Because we have some microbic food that are just interested in siphoning and looting the treasure of the nation. And then we say enough is enough is We have come to change that narrative. No matter what you take us, if it is to cover our blood, we will change the narratives in Nigeria. You hear me? Statistically, present the family, the father, the mother, and the child. You out there is either you're a father, or you're a mother, or you're somebody's child. But you must fall among these categories. One of the problems of Nigeria today has been ethnicity. It has been tribalism, it has been religion. It has been political structure, in quotes, political structure. And that is why we in Labour Party, we don't have political structure, in quotes. But we have the structure, because you and me are the structure.
And now in matters relating to security, operatives of the Anti-Kidnapping Unit by Bayelsa State Command said it has arrested a notorious armed robbery suspect who is on the wanted list of the command for various armed robbery cases in Yenagoa and its environs. The police gave the suspect's name as Keme Azorobo, 27 years old, native of Bomade local government area of Delta State. The arrested suspect, who resides in Yenagoa, the state capital, was arrested during a clearance operation at Otitio Road, Yenagoa, on the 24th of July 2022 at about 3:45 hours. The police recovered a locally made pistol loaded with one live cartridge from him. The statement issued to the press at the time said the police public relations SP Asimni Bowat said the suspect has confessed to the level of his involvement in various armed robbery cases by he and his cohort, who are now at large. The statement also noted that investigations are ongoing to arrest his gang members and bring them to book. And the President General of Ntije community in Oyi local government area of Anambra State, Mr. Chidebele Obika, has announced the ban on youth activity and indiscriminate sale of land as a way of curbing restiveness and insecurity within the area. Obika stated this over the weekend during a meeting of the combined groups in the community, including the Ntije Development Union, the Women's Group, and custodians of the community culture and tradition. Obika, who was recently made the caretaker chairman while addressing the gathering, said they were pained by the state of insecurity in Ntije community and have decided to take steps to correct some of the things that have been causing its harm. He acknowledged that the one challenge plaguing the community was youth restiveness, and to check that, They have to resolve and abolish all youth activities in the community and ban all youth leadership. Also, indiscriminate sales of land, which have made youth to be lazy and to rely only on sales of land as an income, has also been banned. Reacting to the ban, a social commentator, Dr. Mweke Emmanuel Onyeka, argued that for youth to degenerate into a nuisance in the community is a pointer to the fact that families, custodians of tradition, and traditional leaders have failed in their responsibility of growing responsible youth in the society. Let's take Emmanuel.
Before it snowballed into that state it is, that's a very dangerous state, before they start banning them, what actions, have the elders taken? What are those youths doing? How have they encouraged their parents to get them acquire skills? What are they doing presently? Because if the energies the young persons have are allowed redundant, they will have to redirect it into areas that are foul, and which is one of the reasons why we are passing to what we are passing to today. The energies of our young persons are misdirected.
Dr. Mweke also stated that the community leader is not in position to tell anyone how to use their own land, nor the proceeds from the sale of the land.
You cannot stop an adult. I don't know that if there is any, they will go to court. If it is your father's land, how he uses the money is not the other person's father's business. If your father bequeathed a portion of land for you, it is not for you, the other person, to begin to say that the way you are selling this land and the way you are using the money, except that using the money to front issues of violence, to sponsor violence. Otherwise, if you see that these persons, it is their property, maybe their inheritance by nativity, you do not have that right to stop them.
Now, in matters relating to educational sector, the National Examination Council, NECO, says it has deployed cutting-edge software to ensure efficient grading of students and candidates in its various examinations. Professor Dantani Wishi, the Registrar Chief Executive of NECO, disclosed this in Mina, Niger State during a press briefing to mark his 1 year in office. Recall that Professor of Science of Education was appointed as the Registrar of NECO on 12th of July 2021 by President Muhammadu Buhari, and he assumed office on the 26th of the same month. However, speaking on the new grading system, Wushishi said the software would ensure precise grade value for every subject. He said, one of the innovations that we bring to bear in the conduct of the examination is determining the way and manner we determine the grade number, which relates to the allocation of grades for various subjects to various students. Formerly, it was done manually, and there are processes that are followed in doing that manually. But when I came, I felt it is necessary to align ourselves and some of our operations with the in thing, which is technology. And we felt there is need for us to have a software that will enable us to determine precisely real values for subject after exams. So we had a workshop that we and others were able to deploy standard software to determine grade and marking. And the House of Representatives has summoned the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Time Perez Silva, Executive Chairman of Federal Inland Revenue Service, Muhammad Nemi, and other major stakeholders in the oil and gas industry to give an account on the petroleum product subsidy regime from 2017 to 2021. This is sequel to the absence of the key players at the investigative hearing organized by the House of Representatives Special Ad Hoc Committee on Petroleum Product Subsidy Regime. Major stakeholders who were to give accounts shunned the investigation hearing and sent representatives without a letter of authorization, but the lawmakers rejected and insisted that they must appear unfailingly on Wednesday, July 27, 2022. Declaring open the investigative hearing, Deputy Speaker Honorable Idris Wase expressed disappointment over the absence of those in authority who were expected to come and give account of what they had done to Nigerians. He urged members of the committee to discharge their duties without intimidation, but with fear of God. Let's take a listen to him.
First, to admonish my colleagues and brothers and our bosses that this is a very special assignment that will surely improve on our accountability, prosperity as a nation, and we believe that from the constitutional provision of what we also want to uphold and protect, you have a lot to offer and you have a lot to do. I would have said there wasn't any much need for some of the statements made by my brother and colleague and boss about intimidation, because nobody should intimidate Nigeria. You are representing the country and you are accountable to the country. You are here tasked to do this job on behalf of Nigerians. And so, by the constitutional provision, which is the first instrument for any Nigerian to vote, and I will refer you to section 88, it's very clear as to what they are expected to do. Section 88 places that just like this, that subject to provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, subject to provisions of this Constitution, each House of the National Assembly shall have powers by resolution to publish its journal in the Gazette of the Government of the Federation to direct or cause to direct an investigation into any matter or things with respect to which it has power to make laws and conduct and the conduct of affairs of any person, authority, ministry, government, department, charged or intended to be charged with any with a duty of responsibility. And then if you get to B, it says expose corruption, inefficiency, or waste in the execution and administration of laws within its legislative competence and in the disbursement of core and disbursement of funds property. This covers everything that is supposed to be doing. And that should be our first guidance and your own instrument. And I do not see why, when you are applying this, who will come to intimidate you. By this, I want to charge you that you should do your job diligently with the fear of Almighty, and that beware the Nigerians are watching and God Almighty is watching you. And the most important thing is that we expect a very fine result. The committee members are carefully selected. That I want to believe that because of their integrity and honor, as the reason why the House, in its own wisdom, decided to bestow on you this responsibility.
While also speaking on the issue, Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, in his remark, Chairman of the Ad Hoc Committee, Honorable Ibrahim Aliyu, described the absence of the stakeholders as unfortunate, unacceptable, undemocratic, and an infraction on the separation of power. Aliyu, Chairman of the Ad Hoc Committee on Review of Subsidy Regime, Ada Ona Ifodo, report that the committee is investigating money running into the tune of 6 million naira assumed to have been spent between 2017 to 2021 regime for the purpose of petroleum subsidy. Barely days after the burial of a Catholic priest kidnapped and killed in Kaduna State, a worshipper, Tony Udemezue, under the Catholic Diocese of Sokoto, has reportedly been kidnapped by unknown gunmen in Sokoto State. Information available to newsmen revealed that the parishioner was kidnapped in the early hours of Monday from his residence in Tambuwa in Sokoto State and the hometown of Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwa. The last one since 2 a.m., despite the fact that they were called by him before he was taken away. You are watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We'll be back after this break. You're still watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. Now on to other stories. Barrister Amarachi Ohoeli has said that anybody is free to ask for their succession. He, however, pointed out the manner with which groups like the Biafra are going about asking for freedom is disturbing. Barrister Amarachi noted that the going to the extent like Biafra agitators had done in time past to place a bounty on the head of a sitting governor shows that IPOB is going
on your show several times. And you know my position as it regards Nnamdi Kanu and Biafra and all. Well, my position on this matter is that anybody is free to ask to leave this union. But forcefully is what I'm not in support of. I also said making utterances that will cause chaos in this country is what I'm not in support of too. Now, we are looking at the legality of Nnamdi Kanu's arrest. And for these issues that you've come out to paint and create, I'm not a sympathizer. I don't sympathize with the IPOB. If they do something wrong, I'll come out and say it. I'm a Rivers man. I know what it means. I know what happened in Oyibo, how, but it's not something we'll come out here to say. Yeah. But the IPOB has come out several times to say that these things that are happening is not as a result of their own doing, but it is the activities of miscreants.
Now, the presidential candidate of Labour Party, Peter Obi, has called on President Muhammadu Buhari to sit and dialogue with the striking lecturers under the platform of the Academic Staff Union of University to end the nearly 6-month strike. The former Anambra governor said if the president could sit with party leaders over primary election, he should also sit with the aggrieved lecturers to end the strike. According to Obi, what we have in our hands is a situation that requires presidential intervention. The minister that has been given an ultimatum has not just been appointed to oversee the education sector. It is not that he has not just been drafted to do the job. He said the President Buhari is the one on whose desk the buck stops. He should sit with ASU and engage and resolve this matter. If he can sit with party leaders over presidential primaries and get a result, he should sit with ASU and ensure that this strike comes to an end. Now, still on matters concerning election, the Pro-Chancellor Adeleke University, Dr. Deji Adeleke, has told his brother, Senator Ademola Adeleke, that he, Deji, will expose the Osun State Governor-elect if he derails from the development agenda he promised the people. Speaking at the 8th undergraduate and 4th postgraduate convocation of the university, the business market said the governor-elect has no reason to fail the people that trusted him with the mandate. He added that he has counseled Senator Ademola and his team that anyone whose interest is to steal state resources will have no place in his cabinet. Speaking in an interview on ATN's Open Conversation, a public affairs analyst, R.A. Oladeinde Ariyo, said Dr. Deji Adeleke, who is also the elder brother of Senator Ademola Adeleke, is the founder of the governor-elect, and his statement is for the interest of the state and the family's name and reputation. He said Dr. Deji Adeleke's statement will give a reaffirmation to those who have voted in Senator Ademola Adeleke, as there will always be a whip plan.
That the elder brother is the pillar behind Adeleke, the governor-elect, in terms of funding majorly. And of course, he must have advised him severally too. So it becomes a burden on the senior Adeleke to ensure that the brother, who is likely seen as an unserious person because of his culture of dancing, all he needs to do is to hear good music, he will start dancing. You know, I mean, a lot of people see this as a minus, but for me, it doesn't make any difference. We all have our nuances. So for the senior Adeleke, it's an issue that the man must not go and mess up their family name. Their father was the senator. The other brother, who is dead now, was a senator and became a governor before he passed on. And now somebody from the family again, who was a senator, is now a governor. So it does not be in their interest for them to mess up the state. But from my personal knowledge of the family, I can tell you straight away that they've done so much because they believe in Osun State. They have their university there. They have several estates there. They provide qualitative accommodation for residents in Ede, their hometown. It is just about 20 minutes drive to the capital in Oshogbo. So it's important that that man says that very publicly, because people have been saying that the man will be governor in absentia, that he will be the one ruling the state, not the guy that was elected. But having said that, he gives better assurance and greater confidence, that those who voted for Ademola Adeleke, they didn't make mistakes, because it helps when you have a good head, monitoring you and directing you. So at any point that you want to step out of line, you can easily whip that person to line. So for me, it's a good day and a new day for Osun the state and the people. We should favor them.
A coalition of Delta State elders and party stakeholders has urged Governor Ifeanyi Okowa of Delta State, former Governors Ibori James and Emmanuel Oduaga to allow the candidate of the All Progressive Congress APC, Senator Ovie Omo Ogege, to be the sole candidate of both the PDP and the APC in 2023. The elders and women group, in a statement in Ikoko, headquarters of Warri North LGA, said the call followed the release by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) that the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in Delta State had no governorship candidate in the forthcoming general election. A socio-political analyst, Hope Ekweme, who appeared as a guest on ATN on Monday, said the coalition of elders should garner support for Senator Ovie Omo Agege rather than seeking support from the sitting governor Ifeanyi Okowa. Speaking further, the analyst termed the elders' request as dead on arrival.
Okowa to support Omo Agege, right? Since the PDP do not have a candidate, you know. First, that is a vice presidential candidate of a party, PDP. You're asking him to support Omo Agege of APC. All Progressive Congress. You know, first, that is a request on is dead on arrival. You understand? It's something that the governor will not even. He will rather support his worst enemy than supporting Omo Agege. You know, just like you said, Omo Agege came to life to the point of just like a repetition of what happened in Rivers State here, where Chief Lloyd, you know, was nicknamed Abako Master. He became Abako Master in National Assembly. Yep. So correct. That was what brought him to limelight. Aside that, who knows Omo Agege? You know, he has been there and all that. So, but be that it may, I want to say very clearly that the call, like I've said earlier, is something that you know, the governor will not even have to think twice. Now, on the issue of PDP do not have PDP, that was just a lower. My brother is who is a learner. That is just a decision of the lower. They might definitely have to appeal that. You know, they might get to a point that they will get judgment and all that they will be in the ballot. So they are not folding their arms. So such calls should not. They should rather, if they really love Omo Agege and they want him, you know, to be the governor and all that, they should rally support for him and see how, you know, they will galvanize support for him to win the election, rather than asking the sitting governor to. Is it a birthday cake? Are they sharing birthday cake there and say, please give to him?
A political pressure group, the Nigerian Agenda for Inclusion, had in a statement issued by its co-conveners, Alex Obiseson, alleged that since 2007, the All Progressive Congress APC presidential candidate for the 2023 election, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, has consistently floated the idea of political ticket that excluded Christians from power arrangement at the presidency level. The group said the Christian community must put the facts before the presidential candidate of the APC and ask him some pertinent question. Speaking in an interview on Atlantic Television Network, a legal practitioner, Barrister Chidi Okoro, said the clerical impostor should be arraigned for impersonation for the heinous act he committed. Expressing worry, Barrister Okoro urged the Christian Association of Nigeria (CAN) not to treat the case with levity, as the act is an affront on Christianity. He also added that Christianity is not a comedy, it is a revered religion.
Christian all my life, and I have never heard anything like upcoming bishop. You are either a bishop or you are not a bishop. So it's not like comedians. You hear upcoming comedians. We don't do comedy in Christianity. You are either a bishop. It's a very revered office. To me, if Nigeria would have been, or is an ideal state, those impostors should be in police detention by now for impersonation. But nobody is even talking about that. I am worried that such a heinous act was committed in bare light, and nobody is talking of arraigning them to face the music. And that is, I've been saying it, I am drafting a letter I want to make to CAN and PFN that they shouldn't take it lightly with a kid's glove. No. It will, if it were to happen the other way around, it is not even talking of arraignment before police is even a minor issue. Those people would have been dead by now. So I am, like I said, in a short while my letter will get to them. They should not look down on such an affront on Christianity. Those impostors, impersonators should be arraigned.
The federal government has ordered the immediate closure of Federal Government College Kwali, located in Kwali Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Education Minister Adamu gave the directive in a statement by the Director of Press and Public Relations of the Ministry, Ben Gwang, on Monday in Abuja. Adamu said the closure became necessary following a security breach on Sheda and Lambata village, suburbs of Kwali Area Council, which was also threatened FGC Kwali. According to the minister, the timely intervention of security agencies saved the situation. Adamu also directed that arrangements be put in place for final year students to conclude their senior school certificate examination organized by the National Examination Council, NECO. The minister directed all principals of Unity colleges across this country to liaise with security agencies within their jurisdiction in order to forestall any security breach in the Unity schools. And the National Biosafety Management Agency says it was providing efficient guidelines to improve genetically modified organisms for a strong biosafety system in the country. The Director General of the agency, Dr. Rufus Egbeba, disclosed this on Monday at a review meeting of the draft national guidelines on genetically modified plants with the stacked gene in Abuja. Our Abuja correspondent Norma Omeje completes the story.
The Director General, National Biosafety Management Agency, Dr. Rufus Egbeba, has called for a stakeholder review of new guidelines to improve genetically modified organisms for a strong biosafety system in the country, charging stakeholders to be committed in their delivery and ensure that they defend technology to promote development of the
applicants for biosafety permit before any genetically modified organism is produced. The one that have more than one follow specific procedure so that we can be sure that products are safe for human consumption and also do not have any negative impact on our environment.
Speaking with the media, the DG assured Nigerians of their commitment to the best biosafety food standards to promote agricultural production in the country.
I want to assure Nigerians, National Biosafety Management Agency institutions take our decisions based on setting the best safety standards which are internationally accepted. We have through our various activities, draw various guidelines, and also train our staff on best courses that have enhanced.
He further encouraged Nigerians on the effectiveness of genetically modified products, reassuring that the modification processes are safe and unharmful as assumed by most Nigerians.
The assumption that all products of modern biotechnology is coming from foreign environments is wrong. Nigerian institutions have the capability to develop genetically modified products. Federal government has established national biotechnology development agencies, research institutes, research council, and universities that are doing carrying out this. The essence of the agency is to guide these institutions and also private organizations that will use the instrument intend to bring out products that enhance our economy and also provide raw materials and to develop capacities and research in that they can be better.
Reporting for Art Television Network, I am Norma Omeje.
The Independent National Electoral Commission in Lagos State says the state currently has about 7 million registered voters. The state resident electoral commissioner, Mr. Olusegun Agbaje, disclosed this in an interview with the news agency of Nigeria on Sunday. According to him, if the number of new registrants so far in the ongoing continuous voter registration is added to those in the register of voters before the state, the number will be about 7 million. In Lagos State, as of Monday, July 18, those who registered online are 640,560, but many of them have not completed their registration. Those who have completed their registration are about 451,156 persons. Abaji said the total number of the registered voters in Lagos State before the commencement of the ongoing CVRO is about 6,570,291, and if we add the number registrant, we are about 7 million registered voters total. He, however, said the ongoing CVRO had not ended and the commission was still capturing more people before the deadline on July 31. Every day, there is no one that will come here that will not go without being attended to unless we cannot finish before 7 p.m. By that time, all over the country, the system will shut down to avoid misuse of the machines at night. Now, the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, NEPC, has released letters of approval to domestic export warehouse operators to enhance best practices in storage, seamless documentation, and timely delivery of export products at the global market. The Executive Director and Chief Executive Officer, Ezra Yakusak, made the presentation on Monday at the NEPC headquarters, Abuja. Our Abuja correspondent, Norma Omeje, completes the reports.
The Domestic Export Warehouse is a recently established system where goods meant for export are kept for proper documentation and accountability. We can recall that the Nigeria Export Promotion Council stated that the introduction of the Domestic Export Warehouse will address the high level of rejection of non-oil exports at global markets. The Nigeria Export Promotion Council has subsequently presented letters of approval to domestic export warehouse operators in Nigeria. The Executive Director, Nigeria Export Promotion Council, Dr. Ezra Yakusak, has said that the deal is designed to provide best practices in storage, logistics solutions, and efficient and seamless documentation, which will ensure timely delivery of products to importers and compliance to various export orders in and outside the country.
The deal initiative is expected to significantly reduce the cost of doing business for MSMEs, exporting companies, and further serve as a one-stop transit facility terminal where pre-shipment activities like packaging, labeling, aggregation, fumigation, pre-shipment inspection of non-oil export designated consignment are done in preparation for transportation and eventual shipment to export destinations. The deal will therefore provide a veritable platform where export-related agencies and exporters will interface. This will definitely expedite the formulation of novel solutions to all challenges that could arise in the course of implementation.
He also added that the Commission has approved special plate numbers for domestic export warehouses, reiterating that the due project is envisaged to be a game changer in the export sector.
Federal Road Safety Commission has approved special plate numbers for all due operated vehicles. This event, a unique and historic one. The due project is envisaged to be a game changer in the non-oil export supply chain, as it will lead to a substantial increase in Nigeria's non-oil export earnings and increase in global market share for Nigerian non-oil exportable products.
Director of Trade Information, Ifeyinwa Obidike, restated the commitment of the federal government and the export authorities to put in place a system that facilitates a seamless trade, which with the view of increasing export and generating revenue for Nigeria.
Yet again confirms the readiness of the federal government of Nigeria and indeed the Nigeria Export Promotion Council to put in place a system that facilitates seamless trade and ease of doing business, particularly
It is hoped that the interagency synergy displayed in the implementation would provide a platform for eventual sustainability of domestic exports in Nigeria.
In terms of the need to strengthen the processes involved in export business by creating a one-stop shop for all that will address mostly supply chain and logistic challenges. During the initiatives, speak to a number of supply chain challenges identified as critical to the sustainability and competitiveness of Nigerian oil exports.
Norma Omeje, ATN News, Abuja.
A group, Arewa Youth Assembly, has warned that unless the remaining 43 train passengers abducted by terrorists on March 28 are released, the 2023 general elections will not hold in the north. The group, which noted that it shared the pains and agony of families of victims of the train attack were going through, also warned that the authority against taking its threats with levity. The Aya, which comprises youth drawn from the 19 northern states and Abuja, also called for the immediate sack of the National Security Advisor, Major General Babangana Mungono, retired, saying that he had run out of ideas. This was as the Assembly, through its speakers, Mohammed Danlami, in a statement issued in Kaduna on Monday, called for the probe of all military spending in the war against terrorism and banditry across the country. According to the statement, the youth of the region will ensure that nobody participates in any political activities or forthcoming election if our brothers and sisters in captivity are not released. Now, the nationwide protest declared by the Nigerian Labour Congress has been met with wide acceptance from students, workers, and rights groups. The NLC has slated the protest for Tuesday, July 26 and Wednesday, July 27, 2022, in solidarity with the Academic Staff Union of Universities that has since been on strike since February 14, 2022, over what it called the alleged failure of the federal government to honor the agreement it had with the union. A student group that had been organizing students across the country for protest against the prolonged strike, the Fund Education Coalition, on Monday declared support for the NLC protest, saying that the students had been cheated for too long in their quest for better education. A statement signed by Public Relations Officer of FEC, Joseph Aliyu, read in part, "It is no longer news that the Nigerian students who are children of the working class citizens have been cheated for too long by the ruling and oppressing class by permitting series of incessant ASU strike and pocket-tearing school fees, which have not only marred the bright future of many Nigerian students, but also resulted in the increase in school dropout and half-baked graduates." Now, families of abducted victims in the Abuja-Kaduna train attack bound on Mondays stormed the Federal Ministry of Transportation, preventing staff members from gaining entrance into the ministry's headquarters. This is coming less than 24 hours after terrorists released videos of the abducted 41 persons still in captivity being flogged with threat of killing them if their demands were not met. This is representative of the victims. Ahmed Aruwa told newsmen that the terrorists are demanding payment of 100 million naira on each of the victims to release them. The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission has arraigned the Deputy Chief Registrar of the Federal High Court, Port Harcourt, Mrs. Nkem Mba, for alleged involvement in some fraudulent activities. Mba was arraigned before Justice Letam Nodi of the Federal High Court 12, Port Harcourt, on a 3-count charge bordering on abuse of office and corrupt demand of gratification by a public officer. According to a statement by the ICPC spokespersons, Azuka Ogwago, on one of the counts, revealed that the Deputy Chief Registrar received a kickback of about 500,000 naira through her bank account from the purchase of automotive gas oil, popularly known as diesel, and other products. She, however, pleaded not guilty when the charge was read to her, arguing that the money was her 2% of entitlement according to Order 16 of the Admiralty Jurisdiction Procedure Rule 2011. The Akiribo and paramount ruler of Remo land, Oba Babatunde Adewale Ajayi, has called on Nigerians to consider competence and integrity over nativism in the selection of candidates for appointment into position of responsibility. He warned Nigerians against trading competence for nativism in the selection of candidates for appointment. Oba Ajayi, who is also the chairman of the State Traditional Council, insisted that the appointment should not be based on where you come from, but competence and integrity. He spoke during the send-forth ceremony in honor of the immediate past rector of Gateway ICT Polytechnics, Sepade Dr. Isaac Onyenyenka. With doubting challenges posed by ravaging insecurity across the country, Action Aid Nigeria (AAN) on Monday called on the federal government to reconsider proposed ban on illegal minors and commercial motorcycle operators, popularly known as Okada. The country director AAN, Ene Obi, said the ban will undoubtedly further deepen the National Multi-Dimensional Poverty Index if measures are not taken to address the population involved. Obi pointed that the planned ban appears to be a solution to cut off supply of weapons, food and food to terrorists, which would cripple terrorist networking and attacks. But it is also imperative for the sake of national interest and security. Government must provide well-thought-out alternative to lessen the effects of the attendant loss of livelihoods on the people that will be affected. She said, regardless of the means being considered for the proposed ban on Okada's riders, artisans, and small-scale miners, it must be implemented in a way that will not further worsen the country's dire economic situation. And now to business reports from our Lagos studio. Over to you now, Godwin Sunday, for the business reports.
Good evening and welcome to the business desk of Global Business News. I am Godwin Sunday. Nigerian equities market began the trading week of July 23rd in red after dipping by 0.45% or 127 billion week on week. Investors began eyeing low-risk assets as Nigerian Central Bank monetary policy hiked monetary policy rates to 14% in a move to curtail inflation. The bank's hawkish decision makes investors rotate out of equities into fixed income investments to take advantage of the higher yields environment. Though still above inflation 18.60%, the stock market positive return year date printed lower at the plus 20.69% on closing dates on Monday today. As investors considered low-risk asset classes in the review trading week, the market, which had opened the week in green, recorded 4 consecutive capitalization decrease from week open highs of 52,215.12 points and 28,157 to 51,979.92 points and 28.030 trillion naira. The MPC increased 100 basic points in its second straight rise this year. It is also the first time interest rate is raised in 2 consecutive MPC meetings under the central bank governor, Godwin Emefiele. Though the MPC left the cash reserve ratio unchanged at 12.5%, liquidity ratio at 30%, and retained the asymmetric corridor of plus 100/minus 700 basic points around the MPR. Nigeria's foremost development bank, Bank of Industry, has reported 53.4 billion after-tax profit for its 2021 FY, thereby shaking off the cost pressure from pandemic lockdowns that depressed its bottom line by 9.6% in 2020, which jumped 8 times over the previous year. The comeback hung on its bumper revenue of 184.6 billion, which thanks to a much improved net interest income that eclipsed that of the previous year by 40%. More than it the year before, the government-controlled lender earned bulk of its interest income from investment in debt instruments. Standing at 107.5 billion naira this time, it surpassed the combined value of other contributors to that earning category, including loans of advances plus placements with financial institutions. But for all that, the coronavirus crisis, although not widely devastating as it was in 2021, still had its reverberations across the balance sheet. Total assets reduced from 1.86 trillion in 2020 to 1.71 trillion in the year under review. Olukayode A. Peter, the lender's chief, said in the CEO statement accompanying the report. The 8.2% decline was as a result of the reduction of 0.4 billion naira. Net profit margin, which shows how much in at least 364 billion naira, that is about $883 billion monthly, if the oil prices remain stable above $100 per barrel for a long time. Already, experts have predicted that oil prices may remain above $100 per barrel zone over the next 1 year. Going by the analysis, the operators of the fields may rake in about 4.368 trillion in a year in the absence of external factors such as the activities of oil vandals and production shutdown, among others. However, additional 8.835 million barrels per month is expected to go a long way in boosting the nation's oil production. A marginal oil field is described as any field with oil and gas reserves booked and reported annually to the Nigerian mainstream and downstream petroleum regulatory authorities, but remain explored as of investors to pump in more funds. The federal government has been yearning to see the nation's oil reserves and daily production rise to 40 billion and 3 million barrels respectively. The government believes the 57 marginal oil fields won last year by 161 companies will boost the nation's reserves and production. The 2020 marginal oil field bid round started in June of the same year. In May 2021, 161 companies were shortlisted as winners of the 57 marginal fields which were put at an offer. The offers spanned onshore swap and swallowed water. The marginal field licenses were handed over to the winners of the bid last month by the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulator. Well, this is how far we can go today with the business news. It is back to you in the studio. I am Godwin Sunday.
Thank you very much, Godwin Sunday. You are still watching the news on Atlantic Television Network. Up next, International Tidbit with Christopher.
Thank you and welcome to the international segment of the ATN Global News. I am Christopher Lucky. I'm back. And now to the news. At least 24 people died in central Kenya when their bus veered off a bridge and plunged into a river valley, media reported on Monday. Report has it that the incident occurred on Sunday evening in Tharaka Nithi County, when the bus belonging to Modern Coast Company traveling from Meru to the port city of Mombasa veered off the Nithi Bridge, plunging into valley 40 meters below. We are sadly announcing to the nation we have lost 24 people in a grisly Modern Coast bus accident on the notorious Nithi River Bridge along the Meru-Nairobi Highway County. Commissioner Norbert Komora was there. Nation reported Komora as saying that initial investigations show the bus brakes may have failed, preventing its driver from properly turning on a sharp bend at the bridge. Data from the National Bureau of Statistics shows 4,579 people died in road accidents in Kenya, and petition that critics of President Kaya side fear will maul the democracy that Americans hope. I'm here to save Tunisia from collapse, to save it from years of corruption and failure, he said. It is not clear when the results will be announced after polls closed at 9, but with little apparent enthusiasm for the vote among most Tunisians and a boycott by major parties, analysts expect a yes vote with low, while nearly all major political parties and civil society optioned with the political system they run. I don't support Said, but I would vote yes in the referendum because those protesting against it are the main cause of our problems for the past decade, said Mohammed, a Tripoli resident. One of the 3 parliamentary elections and 2 presidential elections since the revolution. The lowest turnout of 41% was in 2019 for the chamber that Said has dissolved. A turnout on Monday far below that rate would further call into question the legit pandemic wave cannot and should not further burden our economies or our societies. particularly at a time when it's been affected by the war and invasion of Ukraine and inflation, she said. The Commission had asked member states to accelerate booster shots now for persons over 60 and vulnerable groups. These months should be preparatory months, so our health system be ready for possible new waves which might, for instance, be combined with seasonal flu, she said. A rights group documenting alleged abuses in Sri Lanka has filed criminal complaints. And that's the size of the package on today's Atlantic Global News. Back to you, Port Harcourt.
You're still watching the Global News on Atlantic Television, and now to entertainment news. Afrobeat indigenous superstar rapper Phyno has announced via his Twitter account that he will be releasing a mint single entitled Current that features super talented producer and singer Techno. Phyno, who has a reputation for being one of Nigeria's most versatile rappers with the ability to seamlessly switch between rap and pop, Techno is also one of the Afrobeat finest producers and artists with a mastery of making catchy songs. Current, which is produced by superstar producer Young Wills, can be expected to carry Techno's distinct melody and catchy lyrics. Listeners should also expect to enjoy Phyno's smooth rap style that defies language barrier. You are watching the news on Atlantic Television Network. Sports stories next.
Good evening and welcome to the Sport Desk on ATN Global News. I am Kingsley Emmanuel. In athletics, President Mohamed Buhari has expressed his heartfelt congratulations to Tobi Amusan for winning the women's 100 meters hurdle gold for Nigeria outside the World Athletics Championship 2022, setting a new world record in the semi-finals and again after the finals all for the athletic event and becoming the first Nigerian to win a world championship. According to a media release by the President's Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, the President joins millions of Nigerians in celebrating this astounding feat by a compatriot and two-time African Games champion who in one night stunned the athletics world with her superlative and stellar performance. The President thanked the track superstar for making the Nigerian national anthem resonate again from the international podium, leaving the nation with the excitement and unforgettable memories of tears of joy and triumph, hope and victory, incredulity and belief. President Buhari said that the legendary career and achievements of the Golden Girl will continue to inspire the upcoming generations of Nigerian athletes to achieve spectacular success. And still in athletics, Nigerian athletes who participated at the just concluded Oregon 2022 World Athletics Championship in the United States may miss the early stage for the Commonwealth Games bid for Birmingham, England due to failure to secure British visas. The first batch for Team Nigerian athletes to the Commonwealth Games who left the country last week Friday have already settled down in Birmingham ahead of the commencement for the event on July 28th. Apart from sprint hurdler Tobi Amusan, all other athletes are based in United States are yet to get results for their biometric for the UK visa, which they did in various locations across the United States. Meanwhile, 94 athletes and 21 officials will represent Nigeria in 9 sports outside the 2022 Commonwealth Games. And away from Team Nigeria, 58 COVID-19 tests taken at the 2022 World Athletics Championship, which ended in Eugene, Oregon in the United States on Sunday, returned positive results ahead of for the final 8 medal events. This figure was released late on Sunday by the event organizers. 10 athletes in total tested positive, 3 of whom were forced to withdraw before their competition. The championship began on July 15th with about 1,700 athletes taking part in several events. And now to football. Rangers have signed Turkey left back Rick Van Yamers on a 5-year deal from Besiktas for an undisclosed fee due to be about £5 billion. The 31-year-old plays 72 times for Besiktas after coming through the youth ranks and has 6 caps for his country. Yamers, who won the 2020 and 2021 Super League with Besiktas, replaced Kevin Bassey, who was sold for Ajax for £19.6 million last week. The attacking fullback, who was contracted to Besiktas until next June, was battled for the side that finished 6th in the Turkish league last season. And that wraps up the sports news. I am Kingsley Emmanuel, taking you to the news desk.
And that's the global news for tonight. But just before we go, another look at the major stories. Abe missing as INEC published details of 16 political parties, flag bearers and running mates. Federal government shut down FGC Kwali due to security breach. Rescue train victims of Forget Election, Arewa Youth Assembly. And in entertainment, Fino set to drop new singles on Friday 29th. But that's the global news on ATN. Thanks for joining us. I am Adejumo Adekunle. Remember, you can follow us on our social media handles. Twitter is at Atlantic TV Net. Facebook and YouTube is Atlantic Television Network. And on Instagram is at Atlantic TV Network. Remember, peace and unity are the pathway to progress. Good evening.
It's the people making the difference in our time on ATN Icons. Here, we present you legends celebrated for their heroism in different fields and serve as role models today. ATN Icons, showing every Sunday 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Atlantic Television Network, StarTimes DTH channel 194, ATN Live on Google App Store, Facebook Atlantic Television Network, YouTube Atlantic Television Network, Instagram Atlantic TV Network, Twitter Atlantic TV Net. For sponsorship 0810-634-1777. ATN Icons, celebrating the giants of our time.